Hello and welcome to episode 19 part 1 of my Wurm Unlimited tutorial series. This episode is on animal husbandry and I want to dedicate this episode to Raynstorm because she nagged me and nagged me and nagged me to cover this because it is a very important subject, animal husbandry. So it was fantastic that she did get me to do this because it's so necessary, but then so are a lot of the things I've covered. But this, of course, excuse me, for many reasons. One being it will work right alongside your farming, and because obviously you need meat to cook to make some really nice meals. So thank you, Raynstorm. This episode has been created thanks to your input. Okay, so now before I start diving in deep, oh boy, this is going to be another one of them episodes. Okay, and I really have no idea how many parts there's going to be to this episode because this is one huge subject. It may not sound like it, animal husbandry, but it intertwines with so much else in the game, just like a lot of the skills do. It's very difficult with Wurm to do tutorials on it because a lot of the content is interrelated. And to try and explain what I mean by that is the example I've given you already. Farming, you can farm pumpkins, and you can also use the meat that you get from your animals to make the meals. So, you know, it's just like that. Just like I say, it's all intertwined. It's very difficult. So before I dive in deep, there's two people I want to thank. First of all, actually 3 people I'll mention. First of all, I want to thank Rye Guy. He did something very amazing. He is the first person that has indexed one of my episodes. Now, he's not done the whole video, don't get me wrong, but what he did is I had was talking about the carts. Actually, no, I'm not going to tell you. It's in episode 18, part 2. And what I'm going to do is anyone who indexes one of my videos, any of the content, I will copy it into the description at the top. So if you want to see what Rye Guy did, it's in episode 18, part 2. In the description I've copied his comment, and it's in the comments also below, you'll see. So thank you ever so much, Rye Guy. What you did was amazing because a while back, not so long, only a couple of days I believe, Bill asked me if I could index the videos, and as you know, in the previous episode I explained that, you know, me and Raynstorm, we want to do this for you all. I want to do this for you all. I want to cover all that I can to make the game more enjoyable, in the hope that it will attract more people to playing this wonderful game. But you know, with just me and Raynstorm, it's just not humanly possible because as the videos go on, there's just too much involved work-wise. It's getting out of hand, and you know, we both work, so it's not going to stop us, but it is going to prevent us from doing all which we could do. Okay, but how about this? I've mentioned several times I want to try and get the rest of you all involved as much as I can. So none of it is mandatory, obviously. You know, it's all just from the goodness of your heart, or not, you know, if you just want to help. So if any of you do want to, because I'm giving a lot of information, this is not normal tutorials, I don't believe, by any standard, because of the level that I'm going to in detail. I am going to the finer points of this beautiful game. So I'm throwing lots of information into it each episode. But what would be fantastic is if one of you, or some of you, or whoever, when you watch an episode, if I make something like a mallet, or I make another item, like say a small anvil, or small nails, or, you know, etc., etc., I could go on, index in that video, leave a comment with a index of where I begin that item, and just, you know, on the video. And then what I will do is I will copy that into the description in that particular episode up above. You're then going to help everyone like Bill, who is quite right. You know, I'm making all of these videos. They're all like mostly 30 minutes long. There isn't going to be possibly, I mean, I haven't even finished yet with the episodes, but it's going to be a giant volume eventually of information, a gigantic amount of information, and it will become more and more like a needle in a haystack. I do try my best to give descriptions and put in there what I'm doing in each episode, but you can't beat someone actually indexing. So if you have a free moment at any time and you know when I begin a particular subject or a very good tip or making an item, then leave a comment and point out where that comment, that tip or making that item begins, and I'll copy it in. Okay, I think I've made that clear. Now in this episode, because there is so much information to cover, I won't try and kid you. I had to make many notes. Normally I make notes so I can punctuate points I want to make, but in this case it's turned into a mini book. All the information that I'm trying to cover in the episodes. So you're going to have to forgive me. In this episode there will be lots of pauses and gaps where I'm going over my notes. It's like a wall of black and white text that I'm trying to decipher and then explain deeper. I have abbreviated what I want to explain, but it's still a wall of text. So you'll have to forgive me in this episode and the rest of the episodes concerning animal husbandry. There'll be silent gaps where I'm turning away to read my notes to make sure that I've not jumped, not skipped, and properly explained each item in this topic of animal husbandry. So there we go. Forgive me for all the gaps, but I shall be doing it. I need to do it. I have to do it, I'm afraid, just so I can read all of what I need to. Okay, so next I want to conclude that what I was just saying. Hopefully all of you will, or some of you will get bored one day and think, let's go help Gamester and index one little tiny thing in one of his videos. And just imagine if enough of you did that, all the videos would start suddenly becoming indexed. So there we go. Anyway, right, moving on. I know I do repeat some things too many times. Forgive me for that. I am only human. Okay, next, thank you to Ricardo for helping others in the comment section by leaving a comment. A very helpful comment in the carts episode. He gave some very nice information. He shared some of his time. Absolutely lovely. Thank you, Ricardo, for giving us some of your precious time to do that. Okay, right. Now then, one more thing for me to mention. It was pointed out by someone that I'd reached 200 subscribers, and I wasn't going to mention that word at all if I could help it in any episodes, but I realised, you know, that's a big thing really. It's a very big thing. 200 people have decided to follow me adamantly in what I do. They have shown their faith completely, and it's a very beautiful thing. And by me not talking about it or ever mentioning it, I'm denying them the courtesy of thanking them for being such amazing people and showing such an interest in a silly old person like me. It really is amazing. I mean, you know, it's amazing. So there we are. We've reached 200 subscribers. I mean, that's totally like flummoxed me, totally knocked me for six. It's just beautiful, really is beautiful. Thank you to every last single one of you. You know who you are. Thank you. Okay, time to start on this epic episode of animal husbandry and all that it involves. And it does involve a lot of information, so I will try my best, to the best of my ability, to get that information across to you. Here we go. Right, now first of all, just to mention some of the topics I'm going to be going over in these episodes on animal husbandry. We're going to be going over grooming, we're going to be going over breeding, and we're going to be going over traits. Let's have a look. What else? We're going to be going over caring for creatures. We're going to be going over feeding the creatures, and possibly, well, not possibly, and a ton load more information. So I advise you to have a nice, comfortable seat and a nice drink of whatever that may be is your favourite. If you're an Aussie, I guess that's some of the old amber nectar. And good day to you, mates, that are in that fair country. Okay, so let's start. We're going to start by creating ourselves a new tool. Okay, just like I said to you before, as we move through the subjects, we will create the tools as they become relevant. So, my first question to you, because you aren't just going to sit idle and watch me. I'm not doing all the work. You'll do a little as well. What tool do you imagine it is that we'll be using for animal husbandry? Okay, you've had time to pause. It is, of course, the grooming brush. So, because we need to take care of all of these wonderful animals that we're going to come across. There's all sorts of animals in animal husbandry. And we need to take care of them. And don't worry not, I shall go through fully explaining why we need to take care of them. But before I jump ahead of myself, we need to start right at the beginning with the tool. So how do we make a grooming brush, I hear you ask? Right, okay, so over here we have two of the components. So it starts with the Wurm plant. You remember that I advised 3 plants to start your farming with: pumpkins, cotton and Wurm. Wurm has many uses, here's one of them. Now, so what we actually need to make the grooming brush is a Wurm fibre. So to get the Wurm fibre, we right click on the Wurm plant and we crush. When we crush it, of course, there we are, we now have a Wurm fibre. And to make our grooming brush, I believe we just activate the Wurm fibre, right click on the shaft. Notice it's a wooden tool, so we are using oak. So right click on tool the shaft, go over create tools, and of course grooming brush. So there we are, very simple to make if you have some Wurm, that is. Right, okay, so there you are. You can now see we have a grooming brush, and remember to make sure when you get oak to make it of oak, and that way it will damage slower as you progress using it. Okay, I'm just going to quickly put the wood scrap in the bin, because remember, you keep all your wood scraps. Okay, so we have the tool we now need. So let me just quickly check my notes. Okay, right, so a big part of, an important part of animal husbandry is the fact that you will need to lead animals, because you will start with nothing, no animals at all, obviously. And as you're roaming around your local area, you'll start finding all sorts of creatures. Some will be passive and some will be hostile. So you'll want to go for the first animals I recommend that you have, because you're going to be limited in many ways. Like, you know, the more animals you have, the quicker they're going to strip your food, whether it's grass, crops, or grass and flowers. That's a little trick there. By putting flowers on your grass, you're giving 2 layers to the food level on that tile. And of course, you can always drop piles of grass on that tile to give it a 3rd layer. So if there's an animal or animals on that tile, they'll need to eat through the pile first, then the flowers, then the grass, before it becomes a dirt, like the packed dirt tile before it becomes packed. So there you go. There's a good little tip for that. Now, it's important to think about the first animals that you're going to have. You can't have every animal because you won't be able to keep up with it. So the best animals to start with are a cow, a bull, and a rooster, if you can find one. But the main two animals is a cow and a bull, because you can then start breeding. Horses, people do love horses, especially Raynstorm. So if you want to have a couple of horses, fine, that can start you off breeding them. But really, for me, my two main animals have always been the cow and bull. You start there and you can get all sorts of wonderful items from them. Okay, so you'll see there's sheep here. I'll get onto them eventually. Yeah, so that's the rooster, the cow and the bull. They're really the first three crucial animals. Yeah, I can't think of any others at this moment, so that's what we'll say. Now, how do you get them? Well, with these three animals, as luck would have it, you don't have to tame them. You can simply activate your rope, go over to the cow that's wandering in your local area. After activating your rope, right click on the animal and just simply left click lead. When you do that, you'll see down here it says you start leading the animal. Okay, now if I move over here, you'll see he'll start to follow me. Now that's here's another very useful tip, that it might be that you've got too many animals on one tile. That is not a good thing, and it's going to be the next subject I talk about in this. So if you see too many animals congregating on the same tile, get into the good habit of leading them away. Preferably you will only have one animal on the tile, and I will explain in a second why. So that's ideal, one animal per tile. Okay, so this other animal, what I will do is I will lead it to a tile where there is plenty of food on that tile. See, so when I'm highlighting the ground, you can see that this tile not only has some crops, but it's got this pile of grass. And I'll make sure his front legs, the creature's front legs are in the tile. And then I will right click and stop leading. I've now moved that animal. Yes, sure, it may wander off again, but if it does start to eat, at least it's not going to eat the bare crops away, so I get a packed dirt tile eventually when it starts walking on the tile. It's now going to chew through the extra food. Okay, so the point's made about leading animals. So that's how you gather them from the wild, and that's how you see, there we go, he's wandered off straight away, but he's not gone back to that tile that the bull is on. Actually, I should say she has not gone back to the tile that bull is on, so it still did good moving them away. Okay, so carrying on. That was the first thing about that. What's important is getting your animals to start with. You've all seen them. They're all out there in the wild. That's how you get them. You all start with a single rope. We'll get on to making more ropes for leading more than one animal when we possibly get into rope making, for example. But that's another episode, and I'm not going there. Okay, so the next thing for me to mention is that each tile, okay, here's the thing with animals. There is a limit to how many animals you want to get. Every animal requires 2 tiles. So when you're planning your pens, like I said to you previously in another episode, I'm going to have a massive animal pen because every animal uses 2 tiles in a pen. That's the way the game has been made. So, Gamester, what are you saying? You're sounding like an imbecile. I know, I can't help that. I'm sorry, getting old. Right, so the way the Code Club AB have made this wonderful game is, if you have a pen that is 10 tiles in size, okay, 10 tiles in size, that means the ideal amount of animals that you will store in that pen is, for those of you that are very, very, very clever, you can answer that before I give the answer. For those of you that just want to watch this for a bit of, joy, it's 5 animals, obviously, and I know you all realise that anyway. You'll have to forgive me when I start messing with you. I do enjoy doing that. Right, anyway, so back to this before I stray. 5 animals. That means, obviously, as you know, 1 animal per 2 tiles. Why, you're saying? Why? Because if you make an enclosure, 1 tile, just 1 tile, and you put an animal in there, it's going to get diseased. There you go. There's the answer to the reasoning behind why you only have 1 animal per 2 tiles in your pen. So if your pen size, your enclosure that you have your animals in, is 20 tiles, okay, you will have 10 animals stored in there. If you have more than that, and you can put as many as you want in there, they're all going to get diseased. One of them will get diseased to start with, and the disease will then spread to other animals. So there we are. That's what happens if you have more animals than the 2 tiles allocated. So just stick to that. That's the golden rule with animals. For every animal you have 2 free tiles. Okay, let's move on. Right, so moving on actually very nicely with grooming and our grooming brush. Another way that you can stop, because even if you allocate, like I say, that 2 tiles for each animal, there is still a chance that and the bird agreed with me again just then, there is still a chance that your animals will get diseased. Even if you have 2 tiles per animal, there is still a good chance that they can get diseased. Another way you can combat it is by grooming all of your animals. Now, grooming is the way that you can combat disease. It is also a way that you can get your animal husbandry skill up. Yeah, you can just about see that, can't you? So it is the best way to increase animal husbandry, by grooming. You can also improve your animal husbandry skill by shearing the sheep. But that's another subject. That's another episode. I'm not going there. Oh, look, my cotton's ripened. That's cool. Okay, so let's groom some of these animals. I'm going to groom all of these animals because I don't want them to get diseased. So, we've activated our grooming brush. In fact, what I'll do, get into good habits. Let's pull it down there on the tool belt. Right click the creature, whatever creature it is. If it has the option to groom, if you're allowed to groom it, if it's an animal that you need to tame first, you won't get the option to groom, I do not believe. If you want to be able to groom, you have to first tame the animal. But as I've said, that's another episode, but it's a very, very good one. So we're going to groom. And here you go, down here you see the grooming progress, doesn't take long, and bang, our animal husbandry skill has just gone up because it's the best skill to use to get it up. And boy, does this game reward you with some fantastic benefits from doing this, as I'm going to get to. But let's just go through making all these animals happy. Now, notice that sometimes when you try to groom them, the message here says the venerable fat ball shies away and interrupts the action. That means I did not successfully groom the bull. Notice with the sheep, when I groom it, it said you start to tend the fat sheep. You have now tended the fat sheep, and she seems pleased. See, so it tells you the animal's now happy. Notice the difference with this bull. When I've just groomed it, he shied away. There's a multiple of reasons of why he shied away. There's only so much information though I'm gonna drill into you, because you'll overload and be put off watching this, and I don't want that. I want you to enjoy this. So what we do, if the animal shies away, don't worry, just right click and groom again. Try again. If you fail, try again. Okay, shied away. Let's groom again. Oh, I must set a hotkey actually for this, make life so much easier. You have now tended the venerable fat bull, and he seems pleased. See, he was being a bit of a grump to start with, as some of us are first thing in the morning after we've had a bad night's sleep. But he's now happy. So let's move on. Oh, look at my animal husbandry. It's gone to 4 already. Let's now groom this one. Yeah. And it's, I believe, quality level and skill level affects your success chances with grooming. Okay, he was okay. I got him on the second time. So he's groomed. He's now happy. Also, he's less likely to get diseased. So let's just groom my lovely cows. You'll see the creatures have different ages. This one's mature, the other one was venerable, another one was adolescent. I'll get to that, why it's relevant. This is a big subject. I'll get to it all. I'll try to anyway. May forget, but I'll try. Trying my best. Okay, oh, let's not forget this cute little horse. How cute is that, eh? When you breed the animals, and I'm going to get on to breeding, I'm just on grooming, but how cute is that? For those of you out there that like cuteness, here is cuteness. Okay, we failed. Let's try again. And again. Wow, this is fantastic. Look at that skill pumping up. Lovely. Okay, that one's now done. Now protected a little from disease. Now, okay, here's a pro tip for you. So, do not believe for 1 second that you have to keep your animals in the pen and that you can only groom them then. Let's give you an example of what I'm rambling about. Over here, we've got Raynstorm's cart, and she has 2 horses attached. Notice how clever she's been. She's not only got a grass tile that they're on, she's also planted flowers, so that it's got 2 layers of food for them. So, with these horses, because they're outside the pen, remember, animals tied to your cart, don't leave them in the mine for days like I do, or did in when I played Wurm Online. And eventually they would get diseased because they didn't have any food to eat, because that's another factor for animals getting diseased as well. If you're not feeding them and they're starving, they'll get diseased. You see how clever this game is? I mean, Rolf really's full of everything with regards to this. He's gone into very fine detail. So yeah, don't leave your animals where there's not a food source. If they're in the mine and you know they're going to be in there a long time, just drop some piles of grass or piles of something else, flowers that they can eat while they're in there, so they don't start getting hungry. Okay though, back to the pro tip. These animals are hitched to the cart. You can still groom them, but you just sometimes have to get closer to them. But let's try. So let's groom this one. There we go. See, he's hitched to the cart, but I'm still able to groom. So remember to groom all your animals and get into a good habit with it. Otherwise they will get diseased. And let's do this one. There you are, Raynstorm. I do a little. There we go. They're both 2 happy horses. Let's now go back to the pen. Okay, so we've gone over that, and okay, something else to do with grooming. Not only does it boost your skill up nicely, but here's something that all of you may not realise or know. There is... Oh, goodness me. That's the 30-minute alarm. Okay. I'm just going to quickly mention this to finish off, and then I will do my goodbyes. Where did I get to? Lost myself. Yes, here we go. Here's a little thing that you may not all know. When doing grooming, there is also less chance of getting bad traits. I know that don't make any sense at all, but I'm going to continue with this episode in part 2. So thank you for joining me. Wherever you are in the world, God bless you and take care. Bye bye.